goal! What a goal! McWilliams! He's done it! He's done it! The Michigan goal in the first period! For McWilliams! Run! Pelty scores! Pelty! It's it!
Welcome back to the podcast. My name is always Derik Clark. Back home up in the studio here in the old bedroom. Not on the lake shores of Lake Ontario, unfortunately, for a few weeks, folks. Good old Christmas vibes in the air. Christmas just less than a week away as I'm recording this. Welcome back to Bull Spittin' with yours truly, Derik Clark. It's been a little bit of a minute here recording this one, about a good old 2 weeks or so, and we got a little bit of a lot to talk about. A lot of things going on in the world of the NFL, a lot of things going on in the world of the NHL, a lot of things going on in the motorsports world. What in the world is going on in F1 right now? They're having an 11th team. They're adding weird drivers. Yuki Tsunoda's not driving for Red Bull, and people are bitching. Welcome back to Bull Spittin' with Derik. Let's get right into this one, folks. We're going to start in the good old gridiron. Into the NFL we shall go. This one is a little bit of an interesting topic because as we get closer to Christmas, we get closer to that weird start of the grind, per se. There's teams getting eliminated. There's teams getting advanced and clinching playoff spots. My Houston Texans clinched a playoff spot. The Steelers have clinched a playoff spot. The Chiefs have already clinched one. The Bills have already clinched one. The Ravens are in a wild card spot, but I'm pretty sure they're going to clinch it because it's the damn Ravens. But the gist is there is a lot of football to be played here. The Broncos are looking gross right now with Bo Nix behind. They're playing Thursday Night Football tonight against the Chargers. Chargers are in a weird grind right now themselves, and it's just a whole thing. And oh my gosh, can we talk for 5 seconds about what in the world is just going on in the world of NFL for 5 seconds? So here's the gist, okay? We're going to start on the AFC side. The AFC side's a little bit of a normal story. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. Oh my God, everybody loves them. 13-1 right now, heading into their 15th game of the season. The Texans 9-5. They play each other on a good old Saturday, and that is an interesting matchup of itself because now you have someone injured in Patrick Mahomes. He has a bad ankle. But he's gonna play. The one thing I will add is that should be an interesting football game in itself in the aspect of the defensive side of the football for the Texans, the offensive side of the football for the Chiefs, and the wild aspect of the O-line that my Texans unfortunately have to deal with every single week. But hey, we're in a playoff spot because we're playing the AFC South, and the second best team is the Indianapolis Colts, who sit at 6-8 and fucking suck. So I don't know what to tell you. But I will tell you this. The NFL is in a weird spot right now because you have this weird thing going on, and that is as you get closer, it's so interesting. So as you get closer and closer to the playoffs, it's starting to get this almost college football atmosphere as you get closer to the end of the regular season. And so like anything goes. And one thing I've immediately noticed is the focus on the defensive side of the ball. I watch NFL Live every single day. For the people that don't know what NFL Live is, it's a show on ESPN. Dan Orlovsky's on it. Great quarterback back in the Detroit days. For the people that don't know, that was a little bit of a joke because back when he played for Detroit, he stepped out of bounds. He also played for my beloved Texans. But the one thing I will say is listening to the guys talk, and I think they're 100% serious, is with these playoff games, they're not focused on the offensive side of the football. They're mostly focused on the defense because I've been saying it for years. Defense wins championships. Defense will win you championships. If your offense can cook and your defense can cook and your defense can keep the other team out of the damn fucking end zone, you're going to win football. You're going to win the dang game. You're going to win the Super Bowl. You're going to win. But the thing is there's been so much focus on the offensive ball lately that people don't realize, and they fail to realize, the fact that defense is what is winning championships. You look back at the amount of times the Chiefs, they're winning games. They've been to the Super Bowl, they've lost. Tampa Bay won because of their defense. The Chiefs won because of their defense. They're able to stop people. Now, granted, last year in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs won in an offensive flurry. You got to really focus on the ball, and you have to focus on your defense, especially in this later part, because a lot of offensive players are getting injured, and you really got to focus here. Now, you look at the game ahead, And it's just going to get this weird motion going on. There's just going to be a lot of weirdness going on, really, on the side of the ball that is the defense. And you look at the offensive side of the ball in the NFL, there's going to be this weird notion that you got to keep releasing that ball. You got to go quick. You got to do short passes and short gains and run the ball. And this is really gritty football. But if you're going to play gritty football, you're going to kind of meet what the defense wants to meet. So I don't know how to approach this game as a Texans fan. My thought, as I just literally almost take out my damn freaking microphone, my personal thought, dude, full send, baby. Full freaking send. Okay? I'm talking full freaking send, my guy. Like, you just got to go completely hard knocks football at this point. I want the ball just shredded. And you have an injured player in Patrick Mahomes playing quarterback. His ankle's hurt. I don't say go for the ankle. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you have an advantage in the aspect of that quarterback could misstep and hurt himself, or he could really be ginger on that knee or on that ankle and on that foot in general. So he has to kind of pivot with his throws. He's going to open some gaps. You could really, Derek Stingley Jr. and, you got Petrie and you got all these other guys out in the backfield and you got your corners and your safeties can easily pressure in. It's just a big thing that you could possibly do. Now, the Texans are already in the playoffs. Like I said, 9-5. You already clinched the AFC South, back-to-back AFC South champions. I will say this, though. Our division sucks. And right now, we'd have to play the Ravens at home. I don't know how to feel about that one. But what I will say is after we're done playing the Chiefs, Christmas Day, we're playing the Ravens. So I don't know how to feel about that. You play the Jags, you win, you play the Chiefs, and then you play that's 3 games in 11 days. I don't know how to feel about that one. So if anyone does, let me know. It's gonna be a little bit of football action because you're gonna play the Chiefs, and then you're gonna play the Ravens on Christmas Day, and then right after that you're playing the Titans. So your 3 last games of the regular season are just absolutely freaking mind-blowing. We have a chance here, folks. We got a chance here. Got a chance. Just a small smidgen of a chance to finish 12-5. Do I think the Texans will finish 12-5? Hell no. 10-7 is very much in reach at this point. They could go 11-6. I think we could beat the Chiefs. I have more confidence in beating the Chiefs than beating the Ravens. And let me explain why. Not only because Mahomes has a bad ankle, but I think our defense can really step up and win this game. Our offensive line sucks, so we really need CJ to scramble and throw that ball, which I know he hasn't been good at, but my God, does he have to be good this week and do that for us. CJ Stroud, I don't know if you're listening to this, but if you are, for some weird chance, listening to some random kid in the middle of nowhere, New York's podcast, please ball out. And Tank Dell, if you're hearing this with him, please ball out. And Nico Collins, if you're hearing this, please ball out. And I wish we had Stephon Diggs still, but unfortunately we don't. And, our run game, Joe Mixon, run the damn football. And fire Slowick if we suck, in this game. Okay, that will do it for the NFL side, because I'll just go on about how the Texans are just absolute dog shit. Or they're going to play like absolute dog. I have a really good chance. We have a chance to beat the Chiefs, but I have a really good superstition that we're just going to play like dog shit. I'll be honest. But if we win, which I will confidently say that we have a chance if we just play our cards right, then I'll be happy. Okay, so let me continue. So where am I? The NHL. There we go. The NHL has kind of This is actually a very important side of the fucking podcast we need to talk about. The NHL has gotten a little interesting here. For the people that don't know, the Winter Classic for the first time ever is not called Deer Bakes because we've already had the 2024 Winter Classic, and the Winter Classic this year isn't on New Year's Day. It's on New Year's Eve. So there's 2 Winter Classics in the same year. I don't know if this is a one-off thing due to some weird scheduling crap. I'm assuming possibly it is. But yeah, that's just the weirdest thing ever. It's against the Blues and the Blackhawks. I've been watching a little bit of the behind-the-scenes documentary. They do this thing where they kind of follow the teams as they get closer and closer. The 2 teams that are going to play in the Winter Classic, they get about a month out. They start this documentary where they get closer and closer, and then the actual game, and then that's where the documentary ends, and they kind of just talk about the season. I've been watching that a little bit because the first, I think, about 4 episodes or 2, 3 episodes have been released, and they're really good. And one thing I've noticed is these teams really care about the Winter Classic, and everybody does. And it's just nice to see that the teams themselves, you want to play in this, and that's a good thing. The one problem the NHL has, for the love of God, the amount of times that I have heard. So let me explain this. So there was I believe that the Ducks were playing. That's a good question. Who were we playing? There's about a week ago. I forget who we were playing. I think maybe was it the Flames? I don't remember. But we were playing about a week ago. And our broadcasters were talking about, they have a meeting every year, the NHL does, with like owners and kind of like talking about the growth of the league, and they had speculated and stated that they did state that the topic of expansion was talked about. They didn't say cities. They just said expansion was talked about. This kind of grew a little bit because there was even more mention of this by other people. Here's the deal. The rumor states that the NHL wants to expand to 34 teams and then kind of just stop and see what the hell happens. If they expand to 34 teams, which they could confidently do, I think if they do, I think they should stop and just be 34 teams for like 20 years. Okay? You have 32 teams right now. Arizona just relocated to Utah. And I'm not saying by any means that next year we're going to hear that like fucking Atlanta, Georgia is going to have an NHL team for the third time ever. No. What I'm saying is if you're going to have a 33rd and you're going to have a 34th franchise, for the love of God, make them appear in the same year. You understand what I'm saying? So, because they did the Vegas Golden Knights, and then you have an odd-ass number of teams, 31. It's so weird. And then you add the Kraken, make it 32. Now you're the same size as the NFL. You're tied for the biggest major sports league in North America in the size of teams. If you're going to add a 33rd and a 34th franchise, I think you need... Sorry, I don't know if this just got picked up by the microphone, but my damn cabinet thing that's like right here just like spewed open. Not important. What I'm trying to say here is if you're going to add a 33rd and you're going to add a 34th team, if you're going to add 2 franchises, there's 2 key things you got to remember. And those key things are, is the expansion going to work? And how is the league layout? And I've been thinking about this for such a long time because Arizona was in the Central Division, which for the love of freaking God, it does not need to be in the Central Division. It needs to be out in the Pacific Division. Okay? And then they relocate to Utah. They're still in the Central Division, which I fucking hate. Okay? So, here's my idea. Okay? And deal with me. Okay? If you're going to expand, you kind of have to look at it as a landscape of the league. Now, my idea is this, and deal with me. If you don't like this, I 100% understand. So here's the gist. For the people that don't know, about a year ago, the Houston Rockets owner, he's a pretty good owner-ish, he installed an ice machine in the arena in Houston. I forget the name of the damn place. And I'm a Texans fan. I just don't remember the name of the basketball facility because I'm a Mavericks fan. Long story, not important. The Rockets have an interesting... They install an ice machine. So the owner installs the ice machine in the Rockets arena. Now little rumors start cooking up. And then I remember there's a rumor of an ownership group that owned the... So the Monroe... Oh, wow, this is a fucking wild one. So the ownership group that owns the... I believe the Monroe Moccasins down near the Louisiana side of hockey. I believe they are trying to put a team in New Orleans in the NHL, or they're part of a bigger group that wants to do that, which is a wilder topic. And then I know Atlanta, Georgia, the Hawks owner installed an ice machine in his basketball court. And then I know Quebec City and all that other stuff. Here's my thought. Here's my legitimate freaking thought. I say yes to Quebec City, but I'm not saying Quebec City in general. I'm saying Canada. Please add another Canadian franchise. I think we should. I think the NHL should. Where? Hell, I don't know. I'm not from Canada. Quebec City, obvious choice. Will they do it? Probably not. That arena needs upgrades. I know people don't like to admit it, but it does. Hamilton has been rumored. That's a good city, but it would be the smallest market. But I heard it's a really nice city. Never been to Hamilton. I've only been to Canada once, about 30 minutes across the border, so I was about an hour away from Toronto. I've also heard Toronto possibly getting a second team. If you add a team in Toronto, that's like adding a second team in Dallas, which was a whole other rumor in the NHL or NFL. My freaking thought of all this bullcrap, I'm going to be honest with you folks, I think they need to add a team in Canada, and I would love to see Quebec City. My pick is Quebec City just because Quebec City deserves to have another team and another chance. Now, here comes my little bit of an interesting argument. I don't think they're going to take Quebec City. So now you're like, okay, Derek, who the hell would they put? You're going to freaking hate me this. You're going to hate this so much. People are going to hate this. But my thought process, unfortunately, is this. And I think this is what legitimately will happen if the two expansion teams that have been rumored for the last couple of years, even before Seattle became actually got on the ice, because they were just a team name, and before Utah, got relocated, Arizona got relocated to Utah. My thought is this: I think they're gonna add a team back in Atlanta for a third chance in a row, third time's a charm. And here's why I kind of like it: the Atlanta Hawks owner is a really good owner, and they have an ice machine, and he's had interest into wanting to have a team in the NHL. He's a good owner. Okay, and the one thing Atlanta's two teams that struggled and relocated had was an issue of ownership. And this guy's a good owner. And the Hawks are good. Now, are they the best team in the NBA? No. Are they one of the more of a the Hawks are playing kind of team? Yes. And the owner is a good owner. So I think if it is going to be him, that is going to be one of the people in the ownership group, and he's going to have kind of like a big role, I think you greenlight it. You put a team in Atlanta. I know that's a bold statement. I know Biz, when he played in the NHL, always talked about the Thrasher games and how it was like the shittiest crowd he ever played against because nobody gave a shit in the games. I understand that. I 100% get it. But if you have an owner that cares, you can make people care about the game. Okay, so now that's Atlanta. So then you start thinking about the craziness of a second team, and that's Houston. Yeah, I said it. I think Houston deserves an NHL team. They had the Houston Aeros for a shit ton of time. The Houston Aeros were in the AHL, and the one thing they struggled was a little bit of attendance, but that was also an ownership problem. The the Houston Rockets and the Atlanta Hawks, both, if they're both owners actually want to have an NHL franchise, and they greenlight it, I think it would be greenlight because you add Atlanta, there's your East Coast team. You add them to the East side. You add Houston, they take the spot that Utah had in the Central, and you move Utah back to the Pacific. Each division is evenly divided, and there's your damn fucking problem solved. Issue and crisis averted. That's the end of story right there. And that's what needs to happen. Do I think that's going to be an easy thing? No. Do I think Gary Bettman's going to do that? Probably not. Knowing him, he's going to put a team in fucking Wyoming for all I know. I don't know. But my point is it's a possibility, and it's a good chance it could happen. And yeah, so I think if you just think that way, we'll be fine. We'll be fine, folks. We'll be fine. One thing I will say now is that we're going to transition out of the hockey world. We're going to go to motorsports. We got a little bit of motorsports news and a little bit of things cooking up in the world that is car racing. And there's a lot to talk about here, so just settle down. There's a lot. So we're going to start in IndyCar, and we're going to go to F1. We're going to talk IndyCar and F1. There's two stories out of IndyCar I want to talk about. They're not that big, but they're kind of brief, and they're kind of cool. And one of them mentions F1. We'll start with Helio Castroneves. He's a four-time Indy 500 champion. He announced yesterday, and was about 2 days ago, actually, the Columbus Blue Jackets, the NHL team, are sponsoring his team in IndyCar next year. He has an IndyCar wrap. He has a wrap. I don't know what race it's going to be. Whatever race is in Ohio. I think Mid-Ohio would be the track, I'm assuming. that he'll run that wrap in. It's a nice wrap. I just thought that was pretty cool to mention that Helio Castroneves will. He's running for a small team. I forget the name. They are based out of Ohio as well. And then the Columbus Blue Jackets sponsoring for a race. Pretty cool for Helio Castroneves. Logan Sargent is who I want to talk about. He ran F1. He ran for Williams. He got fucked over about Alex Albon and all that bullshit. I'm gonna be honest. Alex Albon sucks. I'm gonna say it. I don't care if you watch F1. If you want, I'm gonna open a whole can of worms, and I don't care what you comment. All right, listen to me and listen to me very, very carefully. Okay, Alex Albon sucks, and if you think he's good, you're thinking of OG Alex Albon back in his beginning years, his like 2-3 beginning years. He's horrible now. He's horrible. He's a prodigy. Oh, he just doesn't have the right dude. He's driving for Williams, and when Logan Sargent was driving, they treated him like shit. And you could go back to the broadcast. I've said this in prior episodes. You could go back to the broadcast. The amount of times the guys in the booth are like, oh, it's a fucking American. Oh, that guy sucks, dude, because he's from America. The amount of bullshit that Logan Sargent went through in F1 is just insane. Now, I will say he drove for a shit team, but he also was driving Alex Albon's shitty-ass chassis that they just re-welded together for like 7 races. Do you blame the guy? And then he gets booted out of the car? Like, come on. This is bullshit. All right? And now he's in IndyCar. He just got molded. His seat just got molded. This guy's trying to learn an IndyCar. There's a video. If I could, I would link it in the bio, the description, but I still can't link anything for whatever reason. YouTube's being a little bit of a weirdo. But my gist here is this. Okay, so the problem I'm having with all of this is you've sent a guy who is from America, but has been so like saturated by the British motorsport industry, I guess would be the words to use, that the complete and he's just, dude, it's insane. It hurts my head. It hurts my head. Like they're like, oh, this guy's gonna be the first American. He's so good, and then he just gets treated like absolute dog shit. Now, was he the greatest driver to ever breathe air? Hell no. Am I saying he could have won a race with freaking Williams? Hell no. He could have just been treated better. Treat him better. It's bullshit what he went through. And I hope he kicks fucking ass in IndyCar with how he was fucking treated. That's my I'm swearing a lot in this episode. I'm sorry, folks. It just makes me so upset. Whew, okay. Let's go, let's pivot. Final story at F1. We're going to start at F1. We got 2 stories. Number 1, new team. Starting in 2026, General Motors Cadillac will be the 11th team on the F1 grid. That will make the cars go from 20 to a 22 count. 2 drivers will be added. Who knows if they're coming straight out of F2, but that's a whole nother story. I'm assuming they probably will, and then the whole thing, that's not till 2026. 2025 is the last year of Sauber, and then we'll have an extra team because Sauber will become Audi, and then Audi will get a little bit of an extra, another new name added with them, and that is General Motors Cadillac in 2026. So 2026, there'll be 2 new teams. Audi, which will replace Sauber, and then an actual new team in General Motors Cadillac. They will be driving Cadillacs. It's an American-based team. It's a fully American-based team. I know Haas technically counts as an American team, quote unquote. Of course, Stewart Haas doesn't exist anymore. It's all Haas now, so it's not an American team, but they have American branding-ish, quotation mark bullshit. But a full, it's going to be based in the U.S. I actually think it'll be based near the NASCAR teams out in North Carolina, near, the Charlotte area is kind of where all the NASCAR teams are. So, good for Cadillac, good for General Motors, and I just smacked my microphone because I'm doing hand motions as I'm talking to you. Good for them. This is the final story I'll talk about on this podcast, and then I'll shut my lips and we'll end the episode. Here's the gist. Red Bull kicked out good old Sergio Perez about 2 days ago. They said, bye-bye, motherfucker. Now, am I mad that they kicked him out? Yeah, I'll be honest. Sergio Perez doesn't deserve to get kicked out. Kind of like some Logan Sargent bullshit treatment. I'll be honest. I'm gonna say it. But you get rid of Sargent, Jesus. You get rid of Perez, Sergio Perez, He gets kicked. And an interesting thing happens. People really wanted Yuki Tsunoda to have this seat. And from my perspective, I kind of understand on why you want him to have that seat. Don't get me wrong. I completely fucking understand. He's been driving somewhat decent for Red Bull Cash App. Here's my take. Liam Lawson deserved it more. And here's why. Okay? So Daniel Ricciardo leaves. It would have been wild if Daniel Ricciardo got announced as he's going back to Red Bull. Daniel Ricciardo gets, released, and Liam Lawson comes in and takes his spot for the remainder of the season. I think he ran, 7 races, right? 7 or 8. Liam Lawson did really good in those 7 and 8 races. Now, Derik, that's only 7 and 8 races. Yuki Tsunoda's run more races and has shown more. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Dude, Yuki Tsunoda, look, he's a decent driver, okay? The problem is he's kind of weird because he'll bitch and complain, and yeah, maybe he wants to be a good driver. But like, another issue you have to kind of think about is like, okay, Yuki complains a lot, and what if they don't want that as the Red Bull image? Red Bull is the number 1 team. You got Max Verstappen. Why don't we just throw? And also, you kind of just want someone there, and just kind of be like Max's pep person, which that's probably why Perez got kicked, because Perez didn't want to be that. And I don't fucking blame him. Now, will Perez become the other driver at Red Bull Cash App? Probably not. Matter of fact, I actually would not be surprised if he... Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if he went down to Red Bull Cash App, but I don't think he will. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually took the seat in Sauber. He might take the Sauber seat. Please make sure I'm saying Sauber correct. Isn't it Sauber? If it's Saber, I'm going to lose my shit. I just want to say that. People, if you're listening, correct me in the comments. Is it Saber or Sauber? I don't fucking know. I've heard Sauber and Saber. I'll say that. But yes, I do agree that Liam Lawson deserved the seat in Red Bull. You can bitch, complain in the comments. I don't give a shit. I think Liam Lawson deserved the seat. And for everyone that's probably going to bitch and complain in the comments, go screw yourselves. No, I'm kidding. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. It's been a minute. I know I'm recording this at home, so this is probably going to take forever to upload, and I'm so excited because we don't have Wi-Fi in my house right now. Woo. Okay, guys. It's been fun. It's been fun. Christmas break. Christmas is in less than a week away. Go Houston Texans. Go Texas University. Go Longhorns, baby. We're going to beat Clemson on Saturday, all right? I promise. I promise. All right, we're going to beat Clemson. Go Longhorns. Go Texans. Go Ducks. Go Mavericks. The Ducks fucking did a crazy comeback against the Jets last night. Go Mavericks. Liam Lawson deserved the seat at Red Bull. Logan Sargent should get more. Logan Sargent should come to NASCAR. Question mark. NHL expansion. Atlanta. Woo. That's kind of crazy if that did happen. Okay, in general, guys, love you guys. Mwah. Until next time. Peace.